Welcome to Pod Me If You Can, I'm David Farrell. Today's film is Promise Her Anything, aka Nothing to Declare, aka Taxman, starring Billy Zane.
Pardon me if you can. Movie reviews.
George Putter, Billy Zane, lives in the small town of Putterton, which was founded by his great-great-grandfather. He works at the general store with his father, but dreams of moving to the city to show the world his sculptures and metalwork. When his father and uncles are struck by lightning and killed, George learns that they were part of a secret scandal and that no one in the entire town has been paying taxes for the last 50 years. Now, a new tax inspector, played by Valerie Valois, has been assigned to the town, and it's only a matter of time before she finds out and they all go to jail for tax evasion. So Billy Zane was having a chat to his agent and got all set up for a film called Taxman. He went to the meeting, and it wasn't the film that he thought it was going to be. It was this film, and he decided to do it anyway. The other Taxman film, I believe, was the film with Joe Pantoliano that we've already done on this YouTube channel. And I'll leave a link to that film, that review, in the description of this episode. Following his father's death, George wants to move away, and he's offered $750,000 for the store. Now, there's this big corporate store that wants to move in on the town, and they offer him the money, and George agrees, and he goes to sign the contract, but it doesn't work. They try another pen, but it doesn't work. 3 pens, 4 pens, no difference. Because the ink won't work, the contract can't be signed, because the ghosts of his ancestors are haunting him. This is family friendly, it has some plot issues, like why a big corporate store would want to move into a town that has only 300 people. Doesn't seem very profitable. Also, why the character Valerie Valois plays, she's the tax inspector, why and how she's able to wrangle a busload of tax inspectors to help her work through the town's taxes doesn't totally make sense. And they never really explain how they've been fudging everybody's taxes for 50 years and nobody's noticed. I found all of the ghost stuff with ghosts appearing to be pretty ordinary. The effects are, out there a little bit, but it's kind of just a cheap way to progress the plot and give exposition. It's not very good writing, and there's no real need for it. They had no big helpful moment. It was all kind of voiceover exposition. You just as easily could have had him find the thing he needs at the end of the film to save the town without the help of the ghosts. It was just another way of heading back into the town's history. Also, again and again, they layer and layer what a great place this town is and how everybody loves it. Putterton's such a great place, with great people and blah, blah, blah. But besides Founders Day, these festivities that take place every 4 years, because the town was founded on February 29th, it's a big party that we get to see, and besides that, it's just a pretty average, ordinary town. There's nothing extra special about it except that they don't pay their taxes. This DVD of Promise Her Anything is in a full screen format. So what that means is that every now and then, 3 or 4 times, the boom microphone is visible at the top of the screen, which I found really annoying and really took me out of the film. This is low-budget, independent filmmaking. It's made in Canada, but with Billy Zane. And it's really impressive that they got Billy Zane. More power to them, they must have wowed him at that meeting with his agent. But the character that he plays of George Putter, he's so timid and so flat that besides his ponytail, he doesn't really have any depth. They develop this art project to the side where he's working on metalwork and sculptures, but it doesn't really ever pay off, and it's not as if he's able to sell a bunch of them and save the town. It's just a bit of his character, like he's good at making art. But he's such a timid character. He's so passive, and the love story feels really underdeveloped. And it only really works in this town because Billy Zane's playing George, and George is one of the only people in the age group for Valerie Valois. Everybody in this town's pretty old. He's one of the only young people in the town. So, he's age appropriate, and that's why they fall in love. And as well, she puts herself in this old wedding dress and is quite busty in one scene, which seems to be all she needs to win him over in the end. Ultimately, the film encourages tax evasion and, the town finding a loophole. George keeps saying stuff like, "No real crime has been committed," but there has been a crime committed. It just wasn't committed by you, it was committed by all these ancestor ghosts you have. It's Robin Hood logic because they're keeping their money as they're quite poor. They're not a hugely wealthy town, and that doesn't really work in the real world. It works in the fantasy of Robin Hood. And even then, he's a fugitive, he's an outlaw. So they're a whole town of outlaws. In the end, this film doesn't have many memorable moments, nothing to really hold on to. And it feels very much like a Sunday afternoon movie, a bit fluffy. It's not objectionable material, but it's just not very engaging.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Check out our podcast at www.podmeifyoucan.com.